A laundry mistake that I actually made for years, up until like 3 months ago when I found out about this, and it had just never dawned on me. It never occurred to me. And then when I was told this, I was like, holy cannoli, I have been washing my clothes wrong. I have a friend today, well, for filming. Oh, hi honey. Okay, she's here now. Hey guys, it's Jess, and this is my cat, Luna. She's decided that she wants to be a part of today's video, so everyone say hi to Luna. So today we're talking about how to make your clothes last longer. In this day and age, one of the biggest things for consumers is sustainability with fashion. So sustainability can actually start within your own home, within your closet, by making your clothes last longer, by extending the life so you don't have to as frequently repurchase or buy things, because the pieces in your wardrobe stand up to the test of time. Sit back, relax, and let's get on into it. The first and probably most major thing you can do to make your clothes last longer is to buy and invest into higher quality clothing. So buy less, but invest more into better made pieces that are made out of fabrics that stand the test of time, that will stand up against multiple washings and wearings, things that won't shrink, things that the seams won't like rip out and the threads will like fall away and you'll get like little holes all over. Now, if you're buying pieces brand new, they likely will be more expensive because they are using higher quality fabric, they are using better quality thread, or maybe they're using ethical factories, or whatever the case may be, you are investing into quality. Now, this is not always true, because sometimes like places mark things really high, so you have to be on the lookout for things that mark a piece being a high quality piece. So some signs of high quality pieces include quality stitching, high quality fabric. An extra button being included is also always a good sign, because it shows that the designer intends for the piece to last. So if the button were to fall off, there's an extra piece and you can make it last longer. And then let's say you're not as keen on buying things at a higher price point. Maybe you're just balling on a budget, you want to buy things more affordably. Another option is buying secondhand, whether that's at a traditional thrift store, a vintage store, Depop, Poshmark, anywhere where you can buy things secondhand. So one of my favorite things to do when I'm thrifting is look for higher quality pieces, just because when I'm thrifting, I usually look for like vintage pieces that will stand up to the test of time. And something that's really cool when you're buying secondhand, especially at a thrift store or a vintage store, is if something is vintage or older, you can already see that it's stood the test of time. So let's say you find a piece that's in amazing condition and you see that it's from the 90s. It is 2020. It has already survived 20 odd years, maybe 30 years. And if it's in great condition, that is a telltale sign that it can stand up to the test of time, and it's a piece that you can buy knowing confidently that it's going to last. Now, something major that I have learned is to protect my clothes. Now, I don't mean with like a sword or a shield or something like that. I mean to just protect it from the world, because the world can be messy and not so kind to clothes sometimes. So thing number one with this is when you get home from a day out, immediately change out of your nice clothes and into sweats or pajamas or home clothes, or something that if you start cooking or eating or whatever, it's not going to get messed up or dirty or stained. This goes especially if you wear expensive suits or dresses or anything that is definitely a bit pricier. You want to make sure to really preserve that. And something else you can do if you can't change out of your clothes, let's say there's a holiday or you have friends over or people over and you can't just change into things, you got to stay in what you're wearing. Something that you should definitely be doing is wearing an apron while you cook and while you're in the kitchen. An apron is going to protect a majority of what you're wearing from stains, spills, dropping things, people running into you with things. While it might not be 100% foolproof, it definitely increases your chances of keeping your clothes protected. Now, for those times where you just cannot prevent that stain or spill from happening, something that you need to do is immediately wash that stain, either by using club soda or by using a Tide pen or whatever, like cold water, hot water, whatever like respective thing that goes with that stain is. Make sure you wash that stain out immediately, because if you let that stain sit in, you don't wash it immediately, you're like, oh, I'll get to that later, chances are it's going to set in, and then the likelihood of it lasting forever is just like astronomically high. So definitely when you get a stain, wash it out immediately, or use a Tide pen. Like I used to kind of think Tide pens, what are these called? Tide to Go's. I used to think these little Tide to Go pens were a sham for a long time, but then I tried them and I was genuinely shocked at how well they get stains out. After you get the stain out as best as you can, immediately as possible, wash that item. So even if it's like you do something in the morning, you stain it, as soon as you get home, toss it in the wash, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour, like whenever you can, as soon as possible, toss it in the wash. So while we're on the topic of washing, let's hop into best laundry practices. So all of these upcoming tips, fun fact, are actually from my husband's grandma, who is just like the queen of all things. Like if you have some sort of question or just need advice on something, or if you need to know how to do something, she has the answer. She was actually telling me that she still has clothes from like 30 years ago, and by like following these practices, she keeps them looking like literally brand new. So these are some best practices straight from my husband's grandma. Don't overwash your clothes. Now this goes especially for pieces like sweaters, coats, jeans, garments that don't directly get exposed to your skin where they pick up a lot of sweat or dirt. Of course, when a piece gets dirty or soiled or sweaty or whatever, wash it for sure. And especially pieces like leggings or workout attire or t-shirts. But for many pieces, you don't have to wash them after every wear. You can wash them after 3 or 4 wears, like for jeans. Don't wash them after every time you wear them, because that will just wear the heck out of your jeans. It's going to make them fade. It's going to make them thin. And I don't usually wear the same pair of jeans like 3 or 5 days in a row. That's also not what I'm saying, but a good example of this is maybe I'll wear a pair of jeans on Monday, I'll wear that same pair of jeans on Friday, then maybe next week I'll wear them on Wednesday and Saturday, and then on the 3rd week I'll wear them one more time and then I'll wash them. So they are getting spaced out, things are not getting dirty. If I'm doing something around like dirt or mud, or if I'm sweating a lot, or if I'm doing something where the pants are going to get sweaty or gross or whatever, then I will wash them after that wear. Coats, you probably can wash those once or twice every season unless they get dirty. And if you do wear a piece but it's not yet ready to get washed, hang it up. Do not leave it in a pile on the floor because it will get gross and it might get smelly, just kind of like sitting in a little ball. Always hang your pieces up when you're going to rewear them. Now, my practice is that I don't put them back with my same clothes usually, unless it's like a coat or something. But otherwise, if it's just a day-to-day piece, like a pair of jeans or a white t-shirt, then I'll hang it up and I put it actually on the back of my door. I have a little hook of clothes that are worn but not dirty yet, so that way I can reuse them and rewear them. It's also going to prevent wrinkles, which will maintain the appearance of the piece. This does not go for undergarments, socks, underwear, things that just get dirty. Like, be sensible, friends. When you are washing delicates or delicate pieces, wash those pieces in a laundry bag. Now, a laundry bag is just a little laundry mesh bag that you can throw in the washing machine, and it protects and prevents your pieces from getting damaged. So pieces like lacy underwear, or maybe camis, or maybe sweaters that are prone to snagging on things, putting these pieces in a mesh laundry bag is going to allow them to get washed, but it's going to prevent them from getting stuck on other pieces, ripped, maybe getting stuck around like the centrifuge of the washing machine. What is it called? The spinner in the middle. Before washing, as you're tossing things into the washing machine, always make sure that things are buttoned and zipped up. Having things zipped and buttoned up is going to help prevent damage, and it's going to avoid any tangling, snagging, or tearing. Now, this little laundry tip is something that I did not do for years, and every time I would wash something where I didn't do this, I would always regret it later. Always, always, always follow the garment washing instructions. Now, for years, I didn't do this, and you know, sometimes it goes okay, to be quite honest, but oftentimes I didn't pay attention to the washing instructions on the tag, and my piece would either shrink or change colors, and sometimes it would make it unwearable. Like, I once bought this beautiful blazer, didn't read the instructions, and I washed it and it shrunk. Not just like regular shrunk, it like shrunk, it proper shrunk. And I was like, this would fit my cat. This no longer fits me. And it was such a bummer, because if I had just read the instructions, I would not have shrunk that piece and I could still have it today. Highly recommend, absolutely essential for maintaining the life of your clothes. Please just do it for me, because I have regrets and I miss that blazer. A laundry mistake that I actually made for years, up until like 3 months ago when I found out about this, and it had just never dawned on me. It never occurred to me. And then when I was told this, I was like, Holy cannoli, I have been washing my clothes wrong. Do not overstuff the machine. When you overstuff the machine, it does not allow your clothes to get washed properly. Just think about this. If you overstuff your machine to the point where it's just full and you're like, cool, that's it. How will water and soap get in between those clothes? How will things get properly washed if they can't move around, if they can't have space to actually let the dirt out, to get washed, to move around? It can't. If there's no room for your clothes to move, if there's no room for soap to get into all of the areas and for things to get actually spun and actually wrung out and actually have that dirt flow out of it, things are not ever going to properly be washed. I know this sounds probably like such a simple thing, like duh, don't overstuff your machine, but I just feel like when you're young, you don't think about stuff like that. And unless someone teaches you that, you're just gonna do like whatever's easiest or whatever works most efficiently, and tossing everything in all at once seems like the best option, so you do it. But when you think about it, when you think about, oh, things aren't actually getting washed that well, then it's kind of like a mind-blowing moment. Washing your clothes inside out actually prevents fading, especially when there's like text or design on the front. And this is something I had actually been doing for a long time just because I felt like it would be better. But then when I talked to my husband's grandma, she was like, oh yeah, it prevents fading. Like I have pieces that I always wash inside out and it maintains the same color so much longer than if you were to just wash it regularly. I've noticed considerably less fade when I wash my jeans inside out. I noticed that my black jeans stay true black for loads longer than when I wash them like right side in. To prevent wrinkles, save you time from ironing or steaming, and then also to just maintain your piece, hang to dry. Now, I don't mean just like hang it out the whole time. I mean, you definitely can with certain pieces, especially when it says to hang dry. But when it comes to just washing your regular clothes, take those pieces out of the dryer when they're still a little bit damp, maybe like 80 to 85% dry, and hang them up. Gently tug on the hems to really straighten out that piece and get rid of any wrinkles, and then let it dry from there. Going to save you time from ironing and steaming because you won't have to iron it later. Also, it's going to ensure you don't over dry a piece, which can result in shrinking or the shape changing. And then after that, it's already ready to be put away because it's on a hanger, it's dry, it's crispy, and it's looking good. And my last tip on how to make your clothes last longer is to repair and mend your clothes when they need a little TLC. So when a button falls off, sew it back on. If you're out and about and it falls off and you're like, oh, my button, make sure to put it in a secure location so you can come back to it later and mend that on when you get home. When you start getting a little like tear in the seam, maybe like a seam is just coming loose, stitch that back up. And if you can't do these little fixes yourself, they are very simple. You can learn them from YouTube, but if you also just like don't feel comfortable or you don't have the time, totally all good. Take them to a place or ask a friend or ask your mom to repair them. And that is a wrap on today's video. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys were able to get a lot out of this video. Things that you can do every single day or every time you wash clothes to really extend that clothing life. Now for today's quote of the day, it's by Maya Angelou. And today's quote says, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. And I think that should be kind of like the theme of just life, is to do the best you can. As I've mentioned and talked about in previous videos, you don't come out into this world knowing everything. You don't come out into this world being good at everything and being aware of everything. Keep that in mind as we go into the week. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Bye from us both.